Thanks for taking the time out of your days to come and listen to us students and what we have to say about technology here. I think it's definitely like a wise decision because we've been here for the past 4 years. We've kind of lived the stuff that we're talking about. So with that being said, just like to talk to you a little about technology here. I may repeat some stuff Kyle said, and to also talk about a forum. So, what does it mean to be like a technologically cognizant school? Like, what are the implications of that? I think that if you want to talk about technology in a school, it really needs to stay centered around the students because the students are the ones here to kind of learn something. And I think that getting technology for a parent or a donor or a newspaper that's going to do a report on the school may not be like as wise, I would say, as looking purely at what the students can use. I think it's also important to incorporate technology into school because it needs to stay relevant in this day and age with technology becoming more and more prevalent. Colleges looking for more and more out of students. I think that it's important. It would be doing some students a disservice to deprive them of the what other kids may be doing on a daily basis at other places. I think it also helps keep Galloway innovative because we like to kind of be on the forefront of things. We like to be different, and I think the more we can invest smartly with our technology, I think the better we can be. And then also, I'd like to bring up the point of it kind of revolves around us being fearless too, because that is one of our pillars, and I think for teachers and students alike, it's important to kind of take a leap of faith when trying something new that may be outside of your comfort zone a little bit. So, some things to keep in mind. So this is just talking about a little bit. We did more than this. You guys can check out the poll if you want. Just ask us. But I just took some things from it. We asked, how do you feel about taking notes? Kind of like Kyle said, we got a few people saying they like their laptops, and then a bit more people saying they like writing it down. One thing to keep in mind when talking about this poll is that it was about 1/3 of the students who responded to it. So again, Kyle went over this pretty well. So then we asked, how well does Galloway use its technology? Again, kind of like a pretty good spread of numbers, I'd say, generally centered around like 7, 6, 7, 8 zone. So, from this, I think we're okay, I'd say. Then rate the effectiveness of the Promethean board, again, kind of centered around 7, 8, or 9. Like me personally, I don't know if I agree with this graph because I think that there are things that can be done in different classes with Promethean boards that may be just beyond using it as a whiteboard, and I don't know how representative that is, but again, like this is what 1/3 of the students said. So we asked a question: what was your favorite moment of using technology at Galloway? And I put some of the responses. One thing to keep in mind is that this was anonymous, so there was no like repercussions to be had if you said something bad or funny or whatever. So this person said when the teacher uses technology in a way that can actually complement the lesson very well, i.e. not designing the lesson around technology, but the other way around. And I think that's a beautiful quote. I could end the presentation on that. I think if you take one thing away from it, it should be it. Creating a coding game on Promethean Planet for the middle school classes. The students loved it. Everyone was involved. So an example, I guess, of getting the whole class involved in a new way based around technology. Dr. Vieron, who's the Latin teacher, for those of you who don't know, uses his resources extremely well, and he started to drop us Google Drive documents to help us do our homework and classwork. And this is the best use of technology I've ever seen at the Galloway School. So obviously this person, very impressed with Dr. Vieron. I've always been a fan of Google Docs, and I think it's great that he's using those. I'm not Latin, but sounds good. Can't really recall. Last year, before tech classes were removed, creating 3D models and animations were really fun, and using those skills during project work for presentations is really cool. So I don't know if we do it as much this year, but I know in past years we've had a lot of animation classes. I think I took one like my freshman year, and so I guess that's what I was kind of missing those. But yeah. Watching videos in class about the topic we are talking about. So I do that in a lot of my classes, whether it's stats or conceptual physics. I mean, we watch videos using the Promethean board to kind of make it so it's not just the teacher talking to the students. You can kind of see it in a different medium or from a different perspective. So I think that's good. This person says none. We use it poorly and force technology on students who do not benefit from technology. Just because technology looks nice to donors doesn't mean that we should use it. So this is an interesting thing because I know on the on the like a higher up end of things, you kind of have to run a school. School is kind of like a business, and money is a factor, and we have a lot of great donors here, but sometimes the donors can be kind of out of touch with what the students are working with. So I think it's important to be cognizant of that. And I think they bring up a really good point, although saying there wasn't really a favorite moment of technology might have been kind of harsh, So I looked, just talked about, I guess, kind of some of the pros and the cons of technology in the classroom. I'd say it creates a dynamic classroom, one that is, can change, whether that you're referring to technology as in like a laptop or a new type of desk or something. It helps kind of create a classroom that kind of goes beyond the world of pen and paper, and that you can get like outside sources from the New York Times or different videos or whatever. It kind of helps take down some of the walls from the classroom. Preparedness for the real world. So like I said, like tech jobs are more and more readily available. It's I think it's like definitely the forefront. That's where the big bucks are. I think more and more. So the more you can educate people in the classroom, I think going to the real world, the more natural it can be to do what they're passionate about because they've had a foundation in it. Like I said, kind of thinking outside of the box. You can do things maybe in programs that things that you do with that's right in front of you maybe wouldn't allow for. I think it also creates kind of like progress. We don't want to be a stagnant school. We don't want to be outdated and kind of fall behind. And I think the more we look to the future, the more we look to the things that are on the forefront, the kind of the next frontiers, the better reputation we get as a school, and kind of that like reflection of like what is Galloway. Galloway's like the people who are doing the next thing. But of course, with every pro comes a con. It can be distracting in the classroom. Having a laptop, I think all of us can say from personal experience can be distracting. It's at their fingertips. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, games. I think it's definitely like a real possibility. And I know the sonic wall is kind of a potential answer to that. But if you block one thing that could be a distraction, that also blocks another thing that could be a great talking point. So it's a give and a take. Inappropriate use, kind of just going off that last point, going on sites you're not supposed to be on, maybe like cyberbullying or something, things that would come up that would kind of be adverse. It takes away from the hands-on. I think that, in a sense it adds to the hands-on in a different way, but I think it also takes away. I went to the Waldorf school, which was like no technology. I mean, like the first time people had contact with computers was like the end of 8th grade. And it was all about like I learned how to knit, I learned how to woodwork, I did all this like cool stuff that was super hands-on oriented, and I think it definitely kind of takes the more you kind of move towards technology, the less you learn to I think work in the kind of like a outdoorsy setting, if that makes sense. And then it also kind of this was brought up by like one of the quotes. So it kind of forces people to learn one way when they're more comfortable learning another way. And, I think while it may force you to do that, again, I think the more we can try to acclimate people to something that may be an easier way to go about doing something, the better, if that makes sense. Um, I know for me, creating this on Google, a Google presentation was going to be much easier than doing it on a computer because I can access this anywhere. And I think that even that basic stuff is really good to know because for me, technology has always been something that can expedite a process or make it better or faster. It's and that I don't know, but again, for some people, they like writing down their notes, and that's fine, that's great. But I do think it does help kind of teach and get people's feet wet in places where they normally wouldn't be stepping. So I, just to kind of show some examples of stuff around school that we have here. We went around one day and took pictures. TV, we had a tech bar, library computers, which, well, like personal anecdote, I do think they need an update because there's been many instances where I know they haven't worked well. And then just some kids using it. So I hope that was kind of like informative. I just think that the thing to think about is like, we want to try to figure out a good balance, because with gaining one thing, you're likely to lose another thing. With a great teacher who writes on a whiteboard and gets the information across, if you want someone who's interested in technology, you need a young guy or girl or woman teaching the class who's really in touch with the technology. But with that, you lose you lose the knowledge that someone who, and the wisdom that someone who may have been doing it for a long time has. So, I don't know. I think it's a good thing to ponder. So, thank you.